This year, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Himself and 15 other conservative journalists and influencers were swatted. An armed and dangerous man drove across the country, threatening the lives and families of Matt Walsh, Benny Johnson, and Cat Turd. Weird. Last night, a vehicle arrived outside of Tim Pool's property and opened fire. Things are completely out of control. This has to end. And Tim Pool had a tweet here saying, last night a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. And there was an article. Unfortunately, the Daily Mail has said, right-wing commentator Tim Pool's home is shot by a gunman who approached property in a vehicle. Tim Pool is not a right-wing commentator. I know they've been calling him right-wing for years, but he is quite literally a liberal. He just kind of has, the ability to see things with his eyeballs. I guess the ability to see is right-wing these days. But everybody in the media likes calling him right-wing because he can use his eyes. So right-wing commentator Tim Pool claimed his house was shot at by an unknown gunman who approached his property in a vehicle. Pool said no one was hurt in the shooting, but the vehicle was seen approaching his property Friday night before opening fire, he revealed on social media. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement, he wrote on X. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. And I can only imagine, for people who don't know Tim Pool, he lives in like a compound. So he has like a massive amount of property, and he has like his house and his studio and like chicken farm and like a skate park and shit. And so the amount that he's probably spent on a security system is probably pretty fucking ridiculous. And I think we live in crazy cuckoo land when someone who is like left of center like Tim has to spend what is likely tens of thousands of dollars on a security system to protect himself from lunatics on the left who are going to go to his house and try to harm him. Anyone even further to the right of Tim is going to have to do the same thing. You've come to the point where like you need to start actively wrapping your house up like you live in South America in the zombie PvP server. You know, you gotta have like the outer electric fence with like the electric wire on top and the metal door with the giant bar on it. And then behind that you have like the spikes on the door. And then behind that you have your yard and then your house. And then your house has a door with like multiple locks on it and then a chain door behind that. And then you have like your bear mace and whatever kind of apparatus you're allowed to defend yourself with in South Africa. Like, you gotta get pretty inventive because shit is getting wild. It's unclear if Pool or his family were home at the time of the shooting. It's unclear where the shooting happened. Pool's media empire is based in West Virginia, but he has ties to Tennessee, public records show. My immediate thoughts is someone was trying to scare us, he said in a follow-up. But we have a security gate and armed guards, and it's possible this deterred something more serious. Oh yeah, if he has armed guards for security, he is paying out the fucking ass to make sure nobody does anything to him. And he doesn't even have like radical opinions. He doesn't even have an effect on policy in our country. And this is the kind of security he needs to get. It is crazy to me that there are still people who do not understand where we are. The Daily Mail has contacted Pool and police for comment. Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene replied on X and wrote, "This is terrifying. I'm glad everyone is okay. Everyone must stand together against this type of political violence and intimidation, no matter who it happens to, whether you like them or not." Megyn Kelly also replied, writing, "This is awful, Tim. I'm so sorry this happened. Things are getting out of control and it's happening more frequently. Praying for your safety." General Mike Flynn, served as a national security advisor? Where? During Donald Trump's first term, called on the president to figure out how to return to sanity quickly before worse domestic conditions are created by those who foment false flags and fake cries for the sole purpose of creating chaos. This is the sort of madness that occurs in a deeply divided society where the adversaries are seeking to create crises instead of stopping them from happening in the first place. Pool has an army? What the fuck kind of phrasing is this? Pool has an army of 1.5 million fans on YouTube where he discusses right-wing political topics while wearing his signature beanie. Whoever wrote this is a fucking retard, man. Why would you frame his fans as an army? Again, that is just going to inflate the people trying to harm him. That's not an army. Those are people who like listening to him, man. And also right-wing political topic. Don't you just mean the current state of the United States? What the fuck do you mean? The Democrat turned Republican owns a publishing empire in West Virginia, which has 6 shows, including his own. Look, man, just because he is re-registered, I don't even know if he has, but if he has re-registered as a Republican from a Democrat, that's the only thing that makes sense. Because we're currently sitting in a place where Democrats literally want to murder people who believe differently from them, and Republicans are like, well, maybe they want to murder us, but we should condemn the language used in the group chats, and maybe we'll say something, but we won't ever do anything. Those are your choices. Like, get murdered or go with the people who might potentially in 20 years do something about you getting murdered. Our choices aren't great, brother, but I wouldn't blame him if he re-registered as Republican. Owns a publishing empire in West Virginia, which has 6 shows, including his own. He also sells skateboards and his own brand of coffee, and claimed to make 8 figures a year. However, Poole has called out GOP favorites, including Trump and Candace Owens. Candace Owens is a GOP favorite? I don't know any fucking one that likes Candace Owens. What did they mean by this? What the fuck did they mean by this? When Trump was diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, Poole questioned the bruising on his hand, saying it was right where an IV would have gone in. Do we believe that? The handshake hypothesis, he said at the time. What does that have to do with him getting shot at, brother? Earlier this week, Poole exclusively told the Daily Mail that he didn't believe Owens' claim that the French government had an assassination plan against her, or liked her conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk. That's because the things she's been saying about Charlie Kirk are fucking crazy. If I pull up something and they say their source is Candace Owens, I immediately close it. Like, that's not a source, man. That's like it came to me in a fever dream. She crossed the line when she said that Turning Point betrayed Charlie and to ask for a refund from this godforsaken organization. The implication is that they killed Charlie, and now she's actively telling people to basically destroy them. She's actively now trying to destroy everything Charlie built. Poole had long defended Owens as a genius. What? I guess I haven't watched enough Pool Boy in current years to know. And had willingly hosted her on his own show. Hosting someone who is crazy is not a bad thing, right? There's a difference between hosting someone who is crazy, and I don't know if Candace Owens has done this. Maybe she has, and I just don't know enough about her. But if she had gone on to, like, attempt to ruin people's lives, then I'd be like, maybe don't, right? Maybe don't, Timothy. But if she's just spewing crazy fucking nonsense and she's not directly attacking people, you can talk to a schizophrenic, you know? And Tim has hosted a large number of people from all corners of sanity. I like listening to crazy people rant. I don't like listening to disingenuous liars being allowed to court more people and harm more people. Candace had a thing for Charlie. She's a very jealous woman and wanted to get with Charlie. Imagine. Never forget, Candace Owens first stepped into the fray trying to kickstart a child doxing website to discourage bullying. What? What an insane thing to read! What the actual fuck? Poole had long defended Owens as a genius and had willingly hosted her on his own show, but now he says he has long grown tired of her act. Owens' recent claims were also said to be the last straw for Turning Point leaders who determined to confront her directly. Which, like, yeah, you know, there's something to be said for, like, ignoring crazy people's claims, but once they start getting more traction, it becomes impossible to ignore. Unfortunately. Education has become so absurd that half my job is convincing people I'm not making stuff up. Schools telling kids not to sound out words, PhDs saying education isn't about results, SF, maybe San Francisco, banning middle school algebra, accusations of structural misogyny for literacy software. And someone here named Amal Dorai said, your haters are so deranged that sometimes the possibility that they're your sock puppets is more comforting than the possibility that they are real. And someone named Evan Fang that he's quote retweeting said, this is my headcanon too because the other reality is terrifying. Who writes an overly verbose takedown of an opt-in app that is just trying to enable children to develop a joy of reading and learning? And someone quote retweeted Neil here saying, this is often my experience as well. People assume their experiences in schools from years ago are the norm everywhere today. During the congressional hearing I testified at Wednesday, several Democrats flatly refused to believe the well-documented witness testimony. And this has been something that I've seen in my own Discord over the years as well. Like when people were during COVID saying that children weren't being allowed to go back to schools without taking the COVID vaccines, there were people who were like, well, I'm a parent and that hasn't happened at my school yet. So it's obviously not happening anywhere. There was another thing that I remember being talked about in regards to schools, and I think it might have been like the gender woo-woo nonsense. And we were talking about how there's so many schools like basically implementing that yes, men can participate in women's sports, and they were like, well, nothing has happened at my school yet, so clearly these are just lies. And like even as far as like the Summer of Love nonsense, I would post live streams of the riots going on in the Discord, and I'm like, if you're here, you know, I'm gonna cover this kind of stuff on stream, but if you're here, don't just watch my stream covering what already happened. Watch the live streams of the riots as they're unfolding. Watch the people looting the gas stations and the shops. Watch them smashing out mom and pop businesses and stealing everything from them. Watch people getting locked inside gas stations and burned alive. These are things that you can see with your eyes that will happen. And inevitably, when we would have conversations about these riots, some people would still go, yeah, but they were mostly peaceful, or yeah, but it's a small minority. And it's like, you could have used your eyes to view these things and know that it was not mostly peaceful. Know that it was not a small minority. You could have used your eyes, but you did not. And it's frustrating to have to talk to those people. And I brought up tweets by this account before, this Christian Hayens person. I still don't know who they are, but they got some bangers, apparently. And he said, last year, the GOP campaign operatives found that the Democratic Party's policies were so monstrously outrageous that voters refused to believe they were real. They had to moderate the Democrats' own policy positions when trying to persuade voters at the door. Telling them the truth about their enemies didn't work because the truth was so extreme. And he has a screenshot of an article here from October 28th, 2024. The Democrats' insanity defense. Republican activists say that they have to water down the reality of their opponent's agenda in focus groups. They just don't believe it's true. It can't be. And this also reminds me of when I started talking about Bridge, when I started talking about how I don't like how everybody uses woke to describe what's happening in gaming. I don't like describing Sweet Baby as woke. I don't like describing all of the like subversive nonsense as woke, because that waters down what Marxist tenets actually are in the first place. And so when you start talking about Marxism and communism, even people in my audience were like, Kirsche, if you say that, people are going to think you're crazy. They're not going to want to listen to you because like communism isn't an issue anymore. And it's not communism, it's just woke nonsense. And it's like, no! You are falling for the communism nonsense by wanting to use that kind of language and making it like a child-friendly, oh, it's just woke. It's just woke. Only crazy people believe it. It's not actually dangerous. And it again reminds me back to the 1980s with Yuri Bezmenov, how he said that you can give people black and white information. You can show them proof. You can give them undeniable evidence and they will not understand it. They've been so demoralized and propagandized that you cannot tell this person the truth. And it's infuriating when you encounter these kinds of people. He continues, in late 2019, Dennis Prager went on Bill Maher's show and warned about transgenderism rapidly becoming a cult ideology on the left. The entire audience laughed at him, and Maher said the typical line all of us have heard usually before calamity strikes. Nobody believes that. The same year, when she was running for the Democratic Party's nomination for president, Kamala Harris came out in support of taxpayer-funded transgender surgeries for prisoners when asked by the ACLU. When Trump brought this up in the debate against Harris last year, liberal media outlets said he was crazy for reiterating her own stated policy positions and record as Attorney General of California. And we've seen this a lot. We've seen this very frequently when you point out something that's real and they're just like, well, you're just crazy, right? It's kind of like when news articles acknowledge the population replacement in certain Western countries, but frame it as this is a good thing, diversity is our strength. They're okay. It's fine for them to talk about it. But if you're like, hey, you know, I'm noticing this is happening, and like, I don't know, that doesn't seem like it's great if the native populations might be, I don't know, declining rapidly, then you're like some far-right Nazi conspiracy theorist. But it's like, you're literally just reading the articles put out by the people who are proponents of it. So if they're for the thing that is happening, why are you the devil for being like, I just read their thing, guy? Like, what? It's not happening, but if it is, it's a good thing. It's so tiresome, man. In the September debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, Trump said something so ludicrous that many viewers must have dismissed it out of hand. She did things that nobody would ever think of, Trump said, while rattling off a list of some of the vice president's most radical past positions. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. The idea that the vice president wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison seems so patently absurd that the New Yorker's Susan Glasser cited it in a column, posted the next morning as an example of Trump's lunacy. What the hell was he talking about? Glasser wrote of the trans operation lines. No one knows, which was, of course, exactly Harris's point. That reaction was understandable. The idea of the operations was, as Trump himself said, a thing nobody would ever think of. The problem was that it was true. As CNN had reported that week, Harris, when running for the Democratic nomination in 2019, had written in an ACLU questionnaire that she supported publicly funded gender-affirming care, including transition surgeries for federal prison inmates and detained illegal immigrants. Follow-up reporting from the Washington Free Beacon revealed that while serving as California Attorney General, Harris had, in fact, implemented a statewide policy of taxpayer funding for prisoner sex changes, born out of a settlement in which she agreed to pay for the transition of a man convicted of kidnapping a father of 3 and then murdering him as he begged for his life. What the fuck? How was this our vice president? Harris later bragged on camera about this policy as evidence of her commitment to the progressive movement, in a clip that has since become a staple of Trump's campaign ads.
When I was Attorney General, I learned that the California Department of Corrections, that they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need.
And it's once again, when you show people these things, they don't believe you. They will come up with 1,000,001 reasons to not believe that this is real and that it is just some far-right conspiracy being used to make the left look bad. When all you have to do to make the left look bad is literally repeat what they say, which is why they hate when you do that. Imagine if Trump said that he agreed with Harris and that he also wanted to cut off the dicks of illegal immigrants before he deported them. Mildly OCD, thank you. You've actually seen demoralization go so deep that someone actually said that Yuri Bezmenov didn't exist when you were arguing with them. I've seen the... Obviously, he was lying to you because he thought that the Russian KGB was much more powerful than it actually was. And so he was saying what he thought would have happened if they were actually that powerful, but they're not, so he was just spreading conspiracy theory. I've heard that one, but I haven't heard someone claim that he just doesn't exist yet. That's fucking funny. Jesus Christ. We're reaching Mandela effect levels of reality warping lies. We really are. Maybe there should be, like, IQ tests to use the internet. In a leftist frame of thought, it makes sense to pay with tax money for sex changes for those prisoners. For them, it is merely not denying prisoners medical care. I hate the, like, denying medical care lines. Because it always goes back to providing stuff to criminals, man. Donald Trump administration has removed Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth from the list of free entry days at national parks. They will be replaced with Donald Trump's birthday, and what they don't want to tell you is that Flag Day is June 14th. I don't know what day Donald Trump's birthday is. I don't know if it falls on Flag Day, but June 14th is Flag Day in the United States. He should remove Juneteenth as a national holiday. I would understand keeping Martin Luther King Day as a holiday, not so much Juneteenth. Juneteenth isn't real, man. Just remember the No Kings protest retards? They did that because he had a parade on his birthday the same day as the birth of our army. I do remember them framing the fucking, like, inaugural army thing as Trump having a parade for himself. And it's like, no, it wasn't a parade for himself, you filthy fucking liars. Martin Luther King was a Marxist sex pest. He was what? Juneteenth isn't real, it can't hurt you. True and real. So I thought that was funny. Look at this fucking video, man. Look at this fucking video of how they're teaching kids how to read.
We began reading the sight words together until we came to an unknown word, which was actually covered up. I covered up the picture right here too. Oh my gosh. Some friends are thinking that it's butterfly, and maybe that's because I didn't cover up the picture well enough. you are already using your picture power. When I turn it over, there's a butterfly there. So
I think it's really weird that instead of teaching kids how to sound out words and then make sentences from those words that they've sounded out, they're trying to like teach them predictive learning, like there's some kind of AI algorithm. And I think that's a very dangerous way to go down, where it's like they expect you to read a sentence like the boy did, and you're supposed to be able to predictively fill in what the boy did without even thinking. That seems kind of weird to me.
My guess is that word's gonna be butterfly. I'm gonna look and check to see if I'm right. Look at that, it starts with the b, b, b. So let's read it together. Look at the butterfly. Ooh. With Common Core, children should be reading
I
and
hate
analyzing
Common Core
text
so much.
from the time they enter school.
I thought Common Core was only a math thing, though. I had no idea that, like, No Child Left Behind Common Core bullshit had come into English language learning. I had no idea that Common Core was also a reading thing. I only thought it was about math. That's literal insanity. Oh yeah, here's another video. By the way, they literally discourage kids from trying to sound out words. Look at how visibly frustrated this kid is as his teacher berates him for doing so. And we wonder why kids hate reading.
Why are you doing that? Quit doing that. Quit. You can't sound out. I don't know why you started doing that.
What do you mean you can't sound out? Why would you say that to him? Why would you, like, sounding out the word is, like, the best way to figure out how to pronounce it. You're not always gonna get it right, but you can still fucking try. Like, shit, I still do that when I come across words I don't see. I'm like, let's see my knowledge of the English language help me how to pronounce this shit. So, Vani, thank you, my guy. Well, the learning shit is much older than you think. Your mom had to buy a phonics book to help you learn when you were very young, when you lived just outside a California military base. This was in 1997. They've been hurting kids learning for our whole lives. I'm wondering if I just didn't realize quite how bad English learning was when I was in school, because I learned to read at such a young age, and I was reading above my grade level for such a long time, and so consistently, that I almost never paid attention in my English classes. Right, like, I would just, like, bring my own books and read my own stuff, and I got in trouble pretty often. Especially when I would get called on for, like, popcorn reading, and I was like, yeah, I have no idea where the heck you guys are in the book, because I'm, like, 12 chapters ahead. You know, like, I would get in trouble all the time. Dude, you had to learn to read on your own. They never taught you how to read anything in school. An illiterate populace is both easily controlled and dependent on the state. They know what they're doing. They very much do. I do remember I was working with a chick who had a husband who had been on child disability. And I guess if you're on child disability, once you turn an adult, you still get that disability. And he got that disability because he was illiterate. He literally never learned, even in his adult age. He didn't want to learn, like, how to read. I was like, that's crazy. That man got a wife. Where's my husband? Someone said, women don't like public display of affection. Men should stop doing this. And this guy said, I grew up around several women, my mother, my aunts, cousins, and grandmothers all married, and I can tell you what they told me about this. If your woman does this to you in public, she's only with you for the money, because real love doesn't care. Real love wants the world to know and be seen. And I almost was like, yeah, I agree with that. Right? Like, you should be able to hold hands in public or hug in public, or even maybe a little cheeky ass grab in public, right? Like, you should be showing public affection to the person you're with. But I was like, this is probably one of them incel posts, is it not? And so I blew up the image and I looked at it. This guy has his tongue out and he's licking up her neck while grabbing her ass in public. That is just degenerate behavior, and I would feel the same exact way that she does. I'd be like, I'm out here looking good with my man, supporting him, and he's acting like a fucking animal. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing and humiliating, and you don't do that if you're a normal functioning person. So there are going to be posts on Twitter that are geared towards women will just let you do anything you want, framing it as this woman is doing something wrong, when in fact it is the man who is doing something wrong here. Yes, you should show affection in public. No, you should not be groping ass and licking neck. That crosses a line, brother. Women don't like PDA. Who's behind this account? Akash Singh's wife. She kind of bad, though. Is he one of the players? I don't know. Yeah, she cute. You know, the post had a point until he was grabbing ass like he's squeezing citrus. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, this is a very agreeable post. This post makes a lot of sense, right? If your woman does this to you in public, no, the woman is doing the correct response for a man acting like an animal instead of showing normal public display of affection. He took the men are animals literally. Kirsch's FBI scrutiny skills coming in clutch with that dude's degeneracy. Yeah, like, again, I was gonna be like, yeah, I agree with it. She a bitch. And then I zoomed in on the picture and I was like, wait a minute. She not a bitch. She correct. The man an animal. You know? Like, it's so easy to, like, fall for this shit. And it's got 35k likes, 3.1 million views. You know? And it's just so easy to fall into that cycle of, yeah, fuck them women's. They don't care about them men's. But it's like, that's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening. And so it made me annoyed enough to want to bring it up on stream. Because, like, you know, I always tell you guys, don't black pill. And there are definitely going to be accounts that will try to push you into that black pill mentality. This guy was expecting Japanese women to fall to his feet. He's complaining none of them like him. I can only imagine why the Japanese women would not like this prime specimen of Aryan blood.
Oh, you go to Japan, you're gonna meet all these ladies. Not true. I don't meet one. Not meet one lady.
Why did you come to Japan?
I'm looking for a wife.
Oh, that's cool.
Even this guy's like, oh yeah, I know your type, you fucking weirdo.
What's your type?
I like Asian and pale, tall lady. And she has to, like, not be a lesbian because a lot of girls in Japan, they walking around with other girls.
Oh my god, walking around with other girls? As a girl? They must be gay! No one's ever had female friends before! This man watches too much fucking anime, bro. Anime's fun, but it ain't real life, brother. What are you fucking doing? Why does he talk like an Indian AI? Why does he talk the way that he does? What is this? What is happening?
I can't meet a normal straight woman. I asked many.
He just like me, where the straight men at?
Hey, where are the white women at?
Tens of thousands of ladies, and they all not dating me. I hearing like, oh, Japan lady, they love white men. I hear this online for a long time, and the truth is they don't care about nobody. You can't get a wife anymore. You go to Japan.
All right, Abraham. I don't know what the fuck you were thinking was gonna happen if you go to Japan, but like, if you're insufferable in America, you're gonna be insufferable in Japan as well, brother. You know? Bro looks horrible. The people of Japan, we do not claim this man. Why does he talk with an Indian? Yeah, that's what I was asking. Why does he talk like an Indian AI? It doesn't make any sense. How dare you, Kirsche? AI talks like him. The AI stole his voice. This dude's IQ is 2 points below the Somali average. Japanese women also do not like white men. They want Japanese men. Sometimes, I mean, you know, there is the case to be made sometimes. He's not American, you think? The voice isn't matching his lips. It's auto-translated. That'd be really funny. That'd be really funny. I don't know if he's American. I don't know where he's from. He asked many tens of thousands of ladies. Somehow I don't think he's exaggerating. He doesn't sound American, but I'm not sure where he's from. The quote retweet is great. Let me grab your quote retweet here. Move to Japan to get laid instead of because of anime, certified loser, as opposed to this Danish Chad. I like how the Danes sound. They have funny accents.
デンマークから。
デンマークから。
はい。
日本には何をしにいらっしゃったんですか。
まあ日本語の勉強ですね。
日本語の勉強。
はい。アニメと漫画はもっと読みたいから、日本語も分かりたい。
Look at him learning the
一番好
language.
きなアニメは何ですか。
俺の妹がこんなに可愛いわけじゃないのというアニメが一番好きです。
なんていうタイトルですか。
俺の妹こんなに可愛いわけがない。
俺の妹こんなに可愛いわけがない。これがタイトルなんですか。
まあ普通は俺妹と言いますけど。
俺妹ちょっと。
まあ言いにくいですからね。
その漫画を見てどういうふうに。
アニメです。
アニメ、すみません。
大体の
This is a true anime
今
fan.
の日本のアニメはロリキャラも妹からまあ
May he
若いから
become the
は
next
人気がありますね。
どういうことを言われると萌えとなりますか？
お金をとか
He's even making Japan noises now. That's crazy.
すみません。
Grand Elder Weeb.
じゃあお兄ちゃんを言ってください。
お兄ちゃんはですか？
はい
あ、私がですか？
はい
あ、お兄ちゃん。
ああ萌えですね。
That's so sweet. She played along. What a great
どんな気
interviewer.
分ですか？
そうですね。心が温かくなりますね。心が温かくなりますね。
Oh my god, yeah, the juxtaposition between him and this fucking freak over here who's like, Japanese women don't want anybody. Like, fuck off, man. I always find it interesting how, like, a lot of dudes will talk about Asian women or Japanese women in particular, like they're just these wild animals to be claimed and become property. It's so weird. Rev had posted it. He said, yeah, I get it. People who are legitimately fuming about streamer awards are cringe, but VTubers who are using this as an opportunity to bootlick communities that absolutely hate them are also cringe. Even the announcement was made by someone who hates VTubers. Grow a spine. And this woman could not sound more bored and uncaring. It's almost like someone told her, like, hey, you're gonna have to present the award to those, like, the animated pedophile freak things. And she was like, man, now I'm going to get made fun of at the after party for even being associated with it. That's like literally the attitude she has while presenting it. It's fucking wild.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to present this next award. Uwu. The 5 VTubers in this category worked hard at mastering peak kawaii and ara aura farming. Here are the nominees for Best VTuber.
Like, man, how can you watch that and not feel utterly disrespected as a creator? That's fucking crazy. It's like she learned her speech phonetically. She just, like, sounds so disgusted that she had to do this. And it's like, that's kind of grody. You know? Like, if you're going to be the one presenting this, even if you don't like VTubers for whatever reason, at least act with some modicum of professionality. And I know that's a lot to fucking ask of any streamer in general, but it's still just wild to see. I think some people feel like if they suck up to the people who hate them and if they suck enough schlong, then they'll either finally get included or they'll be more included than just getting nominated. And it's like, I also hate the people that are just like, it's called professionalism. Like, you just be nice for the people who won something so you don't look like you're ungrateful or jealous. And it's like, yeah, I don't think after watching this bitch be the presenter, I have to worry about sounding like any of that. You just sound crazy. Who is this girl anyway? I don't fucking know. I have no idea who she is. Real question is, why the fuck does everyone just assume you know what the fuck a burnt peanut is? I knew what the fuck a burnt peanut was because there was a lot of speculation about, like, is this guy view-botting? Nobody knows. Is he? I don't know. I think it's a little weird that he has, like, tens of thousands of viewers on multiple platforms. I've never heard of this guy, and then suddenly he's larger than Asmongold. That's a little strange. That's a little odd. But people were posting some of his clips of him being a spicy little nut, and I was like, maybe the nut man isn't so bad. I can't retweet these, but maybe he's not a bad nut. And the Shroud boosted him because he doesn't like actual VTubers. See, that's weird, right? The Shroud boosting someone because, like, he likes the guy, thumbs up, that's normal. Shroud boosting someone simply because doesn't like VTuber, that would be weird. I don't really, like, watch Shroud. I knew of him tangentially from, obviously, him being a huge streamer, and then I played Tarkov for a while. I never saw Shroud being a petty person, so I don't think I can ascribe that to him, you know? He's a guy who would call you slurs in a COD 4 lobby in 2009, and I can appreciate that about him. It was really funny watching people be like, oh, all of the pedophile VTubers are upset. I love the peanut. The peanut's the best. You guys shouldn't be gatekeeping. Like, oh my god, you should be more welcoming. Like, what happened to the welcoming and inclusive VTuber community that I knew? I guess it's more important to protect, like, racists and Nazis over being inclusive to, like, other model types. Oh my god. And then, like, fast forward 12 hours, and everyone's like, actually, I just got some more context about the peanut. I was like, damn, this reminds me of Crime Boss, brother. We're never inclusive or welcoming, gate guard the community. It's very funny, because again, this has been something that's been said to me, and I'm just like, brother mans, I've been here since 2018, all right? Brother mans, I was probably watching anime before you were live, okay? Like... Chibidoki on how toxic the VTuber industry really is. I think it's a prime time to watch this after that award show, to be fair. To be real.
I'm sure you guys relate to this, but like, how many of you guys were like picked on as a kid for being like nerdy or different? The sad thing about VTubing and streaming is most people are the people who bullied you in school.
True.
Does that make sense?
True.
Like, you can always tell when someone, like, streaming is like high school. You know, a lot of people who stream and are successful are not very nice, and so it means a lot whenever I meet people who are very nice and very kind. It means a lot to me, because when I started growing and streaming, it made me realize that, wow, it's just high school. It's like trash talking, it's making fun of people.
It's high school, but with worse repercussions, because unlike in high school, these people will try to kneecap your growth in your career simply because they want to play like petty high school drama. And I think like the craziest thing that has like happened to me is like being told that I need to change my content and stop talking about the things that I talk about, because even if I'm not like actually spreading hate, it makes hateful people in my audience, and then people see my audience and then they attribute me to being a hateful person. And it's just like, are we looking at the same audience, brethren? Like, what the fuck do you mean by that, actually? Because, like, unless somebody is going off the rails and attacking me, I don't really see a good portion of my audience being a crazy, insane, mean people, right? Like, that's a little crazy. I'm gonna defend my audience from allegations. And Kirsche is someone who keeps you from being as hateful as you could be. Manya! It was just really interesting, and they were just like, we're telling you this for your own good, because we want you to be included in things, and if you continue talking about the things that you talk about, like, you're never gonna be included, and you're never gonna be invited. And it's like, well, if I have to stop talking about things that I care about, and if I have to stop talking about things that matter to me, and if I have to edit and censor my entire personality to cater to people who never would have liked me anyway, what would the fucking point be? Right? Like, I would just be a completely fake person. I would have immense amounts of stress from having to kowtow to people who hate me, and would be willing to, as soon as I made any kind of mistake, use that against me to ruin me. And I would be disingenuous to my audience if I did that. I would lose a lot of the people who have been here for years because they do enjoy the things that I talk about. And so it's like, I don't need this like major kind of acceptance everywhere. It would be nice if people didn't hate me for fake reasons, for fucking sure, but I can't control that, you know? Kirsche is the one light in the world who keeps you from becoming completely blackpilled. Good! Do not blackpill! Your integrity is the main reason why I'm here. I try my best to have the tegrity on the tegrity farms. Mostly behave, but when harm is done to the coconut, core shops is just something that naturally has to happen. And it's like, I'm not going to feel bad for someone. If you attack me, I'm not going to defend you. Like, what the fuck? Why would you expect me to defend you, you cuck?
For being different, it's stupid. I don't think that's good. So anytime anyone is nice to me, I promise you, I will always remember it. I'm really corny, but like when I was little, I didn't really get a lot of kindness from people. Same. So whenever someone is nice to me, even a little bit, I will always remember it. And
Ayumi One-san announced graduation a while back. Time is an enigma to me, so I don't remember how long ago it was. But when I was first starting out as a VTuber, I reached out to a handful of people who had, you know, like some kind of an audience just to ask questions. Like they weren't super massive, and VTubing was still very tiny in the West. So like I wanted to ask questions about like VTuber programs and software and stuff. Right. But Ayumi One-san, she was one of the people I reached out to and was one of the only people to respond back at the time. And even though that happened like way back in like 2020 or 2019 or some shit, I still remember that as someone who actually took time to respond to me. And I understand like other people didn't respond because like they hated me or even knew who the fuck I was, right? It's probably just because they were super fucking busy. So like no ill will to people who like didn't respond, but I'm always gonna remember the ones that did, because again, I was a literal fucking who. She didn't have to take the time to respond to me. Her inbox was probably fucking full as shit, right? So it's like I always remember that, and I you know, wished her well after her graduation because she's just somebody that I've known around in the sphere for ages, and they were kind to me, you know? VTubers aren't like high school children. Oh, you just found this VTuber called Cinder. Well, that's a bit more complex, to be fair. I wouldn't say that was as cut and dry, but a very high school situation, because they should have just talked to each other instead of blowing everything up publicly.
Even if I try to do my best to be friends with as many people as I can, there will always be people that don't like you. Yep. And that is okay. It's a really sad thing to realize, because I'm sure you guys relate to this too, where like, it's not that you want everyone to like you, it's just that you never want to offend anyone. I never want to offend anyone. I don't
think it's possible to not offend people, as my existence seems to do that. I give props to people who actually dislike me for real reasons though, because I'm tired of like the lie reasons. So like occasionally when I read someone be like, yeah, I just don't like, you know, the content that she does, so I just don't watch her. I don't like her opinions on this thing. And I'm like, thank you, hater, for actually having a real reason to dislike me. I appreciate that about you. The banana tells it like it is. True. There are some people that have being offended as a profession. It's impossible to not offend them. True.
Like, for example, I think VTubing has become so negative lately. Like, have you seen all the news channels? Every single one reports on all the evil and sad things happening. Not a single one reports on the good. And it's, like, sad. You know, like, I think as a news channel, we should be bringing attention to these events and, like, these good things that happen, these viral things.
I don't really cover VTuber news, but yeah, it would be nice to see, like, just more happy things in general. I mean, even when I'm looking for news, like real life news, there's not a whole lot of like good things. And when I do go hunting for like the white pill stuff to distribute, it sometimes takes a bit of digging.
That happen. But no, instead we just clickbait and report on the sad things. And it's a shame. I get it, that it pays the bills. There's a reason it pays the bills, but it's a shame. I wish there was more kindness and more bringing attention to the good things. Because there's a lot of good that happens. Like, truly, there's so much good that happens.
Maybe, but we wouldn't know about it unless people reported on it. And I'm not like a VTuber news source, so I don't really pull up too much in VTuber news.